be talked about. So let me flip it right quick so you could go check it out for yourself. Make sure you go to this station. We still hustle daily. And this is about a young teenager, this beautiful young girl. He is the moderator for the show. Very good person. Let me pause it. It's disturbing, and for me, I've been through this. I've been through what this young girl has been through. So I understand. I understand the mental anguish she had to endure. So, just in a nutshell, and you can always go watch it yourself. This is about a young girl who's giving her she's giving her account of a time when she was dealing with a pedophile, being statutorily raped, which is called statutory rape, is when an adult person engages in sexual activity with someone who is under legal age. Okay. Now, she basically talked about how she was on a social media website. I ain't gonna give it verbatim, but I'm gonna just give a gist of it, and how she was lured into the path of a pedophile, basically a predator pedophile who decided, oh, you know what, this young person is vulnerable and probably going to be really easy for me to lure into my world to do what I want to do to this person. And so, unfortunately, that's what happened. She says that she wanted to meet this person. You know, there was a lot of online back and forth in conversation. And even though she let this person know that she was underage and she was aware that he was older than her by far, she still continued. Now, I'm not going to guilt her, and I'm not going to try to say, "Oh, you knew better, you knew better," because yeah, tentatively yes, she did know better, because um, even though she does say, you know, I wasn't, nobody really gave me that type of coaching, you know, growing up, and she's saying that she was accustomed to being tenderly molested and felt on and stuff like that as a kid. And so she's basically saying like she didn't really understand the extent of what she was getting herself into. And she just really thought like, but I'm gonna be honest with you, when females are in that age, well, where us, you know, I could say it now, older women, because I was at that age, it's called smelling yourself. It's called we smelling ourselves. When women, we say that, we say, oh, you smelling yourself, or you wearing your big girl panties. It's when a young female realizes she has a bosom, she has hips, she got butt, she has a figure now, you know, and I'm not talking about her specifically, just females. Once females start to go through their puberty phases where they actually start getting their body parts, and they finally get that one compliment, that one, that's all they need is that one compliment. And then at that point, their confidence shoots through the sky, even if it's for a short while, and then they seek that same adrenaline rush again. And I know because I've been through that. I remember when I started growing up, and you know, I wasn't, and I still am not the type to be all up in a mirror and stuff like that, you know. Um, I like to just run around and play, you know what I mean? And I wasn't really into boys in that way. Like, I'm a straight woman and I was a straight girl then, but I just wasn't, it wasn't, that wasn't my thought pattern. Being around boys, it wasn't about making out and kissy face and stuff like that. You know, it wasn't about that. And I'm still the same way to this day. Like, if I'm around guys, I'm not trying to do nothing with you. I'm not really interested in that, especially if you're not my man. So, hold up, my allergies. Allergies. Anyway, this isn't about me. I just want to reflect on what I seen with this young girl. She went into the story about how he lured her to his place, or a place. I'm gonna say a place because she's saying it's his place, but maybe it wasn't even his place. Because these guys that go after vulnerable females or young females, a lot of times they ain't got no crib of their own. They doing something somehow, managing, you know what I mean. A lot of the time they ain't got no crib of their own. It's all a facade. But when you're young or when you're in a vulnerable position, you just believe whatever, and then it's not even about vulnerability. It's just about, everybody don't walk around with a hutch thinking that you're just lying. Most people just don't think that about human beings. You don't think like, oh, this person lying to me, or this person is going to lie. But we have to start remembering to educate not just the younger generation, but even the current generation, that unfortunately you cannot trust every single thing people say, and you unfortunately can't believe everybody. You have to protect yourself at all costs. When somebody say something, you gotta check, you gotta do reference, cross reference. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's sad that this world is like that, but it is so dangerous. I'm listening to this young girl give her account of how she was lured in by a pedophile in her own community by being on social media. She's on social media being a kid, just trying to have fun. And he saw a vulnerable soul and said, perfect. I'm about to get this girl and I'm going to violate her, and I'm going to make her think she's a big girl now. Something's wrong in your head that you even want to do that to another person. But it's even worse that for 8 days you kept this girl sheltered away from her family, and at no point in time you didn't say, nah, this isn't right, and I can't allow myself to do that. That's when you got to start wondering about the people in your communities. So please talk to your daughters, talk to your sons, talk to your relatives and your friends, and let them know that there are a lot of weirdos out there, and they really don't care about, they don't care. And there's some people that are, they're comfortable with their weirdness. They don't think they're weird. They don't see that as inappropriate. So they might look at a video like this that this young girl is posted and be like, oh, whatever, she was just being fast. And I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes these young kids, whether they girls or boys, sometimes they are being fast. But usually when you come across a child that is quote unquote being fast, it's because it is their cry for help. It is because they are either wanting to seem neglected. Maybe they're getting love, but they're not getting the love that they want, which in their mind is neglect, right? They have the right to feel that way. Or they are actually being neglected. Maybe their parent has to work too much and they're not home enough. Or maybe their parent is home enough, but their parent isn't paying attention to them enough. Or maybe they're getting all the attention they could possibly need or want, but they don't want it. And now you're bothering me too much and I need my space and dot 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 dot. Because children, they all have a preference to how they want to grow up. And they unfortunately have a misconception of how life goes because they watch too much social media, they watch too much TV, they watch too much influences that don't come from a genuine source, and they don't understand that, listen, you're poisoning your mind, you're poisoning your soul, and you're going to invite the wrong type of demons into your life. And when I say demons, I'm talking about evil spirit, people who have evil intentions. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the story goes on where the guy, he lures her to his apartment. He tells her he's coming to pick her up in a red car. She's looking for him. Blah 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 blah. Turns out that he sends an Uber, which brings her to his place. And she basically said that she thought that she basically had control over the situation, which that's how young girls feel. That's how young people feel. You want to know why? Because a lot of the times they're they're not taught to not feel that way. And that's it's good, that means confidence. That means she had a level of confidence in herself that, what, I could be around a person and I could she trusted herself is what I'm trying to tell you. She trusted herself. She knew, well, I'm not going there for that. I'm not going there for this to go to the next level. I'm going there literally to meet this person and see what this person is like. But unfortunately, young ladies and young men, because now we got this is happening to people of all ages. You don't even have to be a kid. Okay, you can't always trust that phone call or that text message or that DM to invite you to come around is gonna be just as plain as you got it thought out in your head. Just like you got it thought out in your head, this person or these people might have it thought out in her head. Now, she kept saying in her video, I don't understand why none of them told me to leave or go home. It was one point where she's explaining that some other guy started hitting her up but offering her money, and I said, she's so young and she's so unaccustomed to how the streets move. She doesn't realize that they was about to pimp her out. I'm like, they was just gonna try to make you look like you were just some little prostitute child, and if that didn't work, you were gonna end up dead. Cause that's the streets. That's it's inevitable. Um, I'm glad this video came across my page the way that it did, because I have a passion for young people, especially because they really don't understand this world the way that they need to. And because they don't understand the world that they need to, they go into this world, and you could literally buy these kids, because most of these kids, they want their hair done, whether it's a male or female. They want nice clothes. They want the newest phones. They want the newest this. It's so easy, sadly to say, but it's so easy for a person such as a pedophile, such as these statutory rapists, whether they're male or female, because they're all out there. You got teachers doing that. I was just talking to someone saying how in my home city, not too long ago, it made the news that a female teacher was having a sexual relationship with a student just in order for him to excel to the next grades. That is a pedophile. That's statutory rape. That is past unethical. And I was totally disgusted learning that. My home city, like when you hear stuff like that, you're like, What I do like is the host of this show who is doing the commentary of the video that I showed y'all. And I'm going to show it again at the end before I get off of here. What I like is that he has a sound mind. His responses are just. His responses are that of a decent person, someone who was obviously raised correctly, and he's saying, nah, she needs to reveal who this guy is, because he needs to be put in jail. He needs to be incarcerated. And absolutely. And you know what? Maybe she doesn't have the bravery right now to speak up and say what needs to be said. It's okay. But she's getting there, because now she's giving account to what happened after I don't know how many years. Because now you see the pictures in the video, you can tell she was extremely little girl. She said she was 15. I would have thought she was 11 or 12. You know what I'm saying? But she said she was 15. And now you see her, she got her piercing, she got her lashes, she's doing her outlandish hairstyle, she got her makeup, you can tell that she got to be at least 18 by now. You know what I'm saying? At least I will hope so, because she definitely, but then you got to understand, she had already begun having intimate relations with adult men who were telling her, or as we all call it, grooming her to think and believe that she's a grown woman, and now this is what grown people do, and now you grown now, so you do what you want. This is one of my pet peeve sayings that people say. You grown, you can have sex. Stop it. Stop it. Having sex is not a grown thing. Having sex is a marital thing. It's not for grown people. Sex is for people who want to commit to marriage. Sex is not for people who are quote unquote grown. A lot of people just don't understand that. So stop telling people that and stop using that as a valid saying, because now you got kids going around thinking, yeah. Now the sad part is this person, knowing knowing that she was a kid, knowing that she was a minor, and I don't know where this happened, so I don't know if she was in a state where age 16 counts as an adult, but in the state of New Jersey where I was born and raised at, in the state of New Jersey, age 18 is considered an adult. But in my mind and in my world, you're not an adult just because your age goes up. Because once you become an adult, I'll never forget the day that my oldest daughter turned 18, and there was some pervert pedophile on my social media page. I had posted pictures of her because I gave her a photo shoot. Those of y'all who know me know that I'm real dope in photography, and I had gave her a photo shoot at home, and I posted the picture because, I was just like, this is what I did. I was showing them what I did for her birthday. This pervert pedophile got on my page, because that's when I used to keep my page open, promoting things, and before people actually started revealing how weird they were online. Now you just see weirdos everywhere. But this was during a time where you really didn't see too many weirdos professing online. You just, it was very hard to find them, or for them to reveal themselves, at least. And I never forget him talking about he wanted to get with my daughter, and I'm just like, yo, my daughter ain't even been 18 for less than 24 hours. Do you want me to? And to this day, if I ever run into that motherfucker, ever, you're done. That's how serious I am. I don't even care. Like, that never erased my mind, because I say, yo, this reminds me of the weirdos that sit around waiting for little girls to go to prom, sitting around like, oh yeah, it's prom night, and they be at the prom not because they know somebody from the prom, or not because, oh, I'm rooting for my cousin or whoever, but because they want to see these young girls getting dressed up and want to figure out what hotel that they renting to go hang out at. Or nowadays they do Airbnbs, you know what I mean? But like back in my day when I was growing up, that's what everybody did if they went to the prom. I ain't never go to prom, but that's what they would do. They get the room and they hang out a night or a couple of nights with their friends from school. Everybody get lifted and everybody get wasted. But for the most part, only the couples would do stuff. Mostly everybody would just chill. It would just be a big old, the kickback type thing. But you get these older people sitting around, and I'm just like, you have to be a pitiful individual that you sitting around waiting for a child who hasn't even, their mind ain't that developed. Their understanding of life is not that developed. Why do you feel so anxious to get into their life and mess it up for them? Because your life is messed up. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to watch that video. If you've ever experienced pedophilia in your life, or if you know somebody who has, or if you just heard this video and just like, yo, I need to check this video out, because Shantae is she is a piece of work. I highly recommend you check that out. And I'll see if I could go in there and get the link and put it on here just in case. But I just want to tell you, like, when I see stuff like that, it irks my nerves, because it's like, ooh, how can somebody who is of age look at somebody who is not of age, or who is just becoming of age? They're still new to life, and you're just anxious to get into their world, and like, that's just that's terrorism. I don't care what nobody say, that's terrorism. And I think it's beyond disgusting. And like I said, I really commend the show host of that channel that did the commentary, like he did his reaction commentary type thing. I commend him, because he really spoke out honest, healthy thoughts, honest, healthy reaction. Again, these young females, and I'm gonna speak on the females because I can't speak on a male perspective because I'm a female, you know what I mean? But I will speak on a female perspective. When young females are just now growing into their looks and their bodies, they are so appreciative of the attention that they get, whether it's one compliment or constant compliments. They're so appreciative of it because it's new to them, not because, you know what I mean, that they're anxious to start having intimate relations, but they appreciate that somebody sees them blooming from a little, you know, caterpillar into a butterfly, so to say. And they appreciate the admiration. When you start seeing these young females getting arrogant and they snapping their nails and they hair all like this and they head all like that, it's because they done been hurt. It's because somebody came in their world and ruined their happy innocence. And now they're mad. And guess what? Yeah, they will run around and sleep around with you. And they will run around and take your money if you offer it to them because they think they doing something. They think they hurting you and they think they doing something. Meanwhile, they're still not even that mature to realize you ain't even scraping the barrel. Them motherfuckers still using you. You ain't getting nowhere. But in their mind, they think they're doing something. Yeah. I had this one girl pushing 30 years old bragging about getting $500 a night for being a stripper. $500 a night? Wait. $500 a night? Not 5,000, not 50,000, 500,000. $500? Just 500? Just 2 zeros. And you bragging about that? That's nothing to brag about. That's a very low grade stripper. You low grade. You low budget. That's nothing. Nothing. Literally nothing. And I know and I know all of the dudes in there is banging you. So what you bragging about? You a low grade prostitute. So in this video, this guy offered her small money, this little girl small money, trying to get her to come over. He was trying to prostitute her out. He was just like, well, if she there and she's sleeping with this guy and this guy, and the dude that lured her tried to cover it up by being on social media, posting with his baby mom. So that way it looked like he ain't have this little girl as a sexual prisoner up in his house. Meanwhile, he got the little girl up in the house sleeping with her. And she thinking, this is bae. I got bae. I got me a grown man. She don't even realize, no, you don't got you a grown man. You got an adult-bodied person with the mind of a sadistic pedophile. And if this gets too far out of hand, he might kill you or he might rape you over and over again to degrade you and further terrorize your life. So we have to have these talks. We have to start talking to these kids. And when y'all see these weirdo adults doing this stuff, we got to start calling them on their BS. When you at work and you got the weirdo that wants to look at everybody but, even if it's an adult female, the fact that they calling it out, yo, she got a fat ass, weirdo. Don't no normal person act like that. That's somebody who's probably a pedophile. Probably 9 out of 10 probably looks at all females the same, of any age, grandma, great grandma, down to the little toddler walking past with a pamper on. Yo, that pamper fat as fuck. Yo, you know she gonna grow up have a fat ass. Them type of weirdos. Yes, they exist. They're out there. And you gotta watch them. It's not normal to be like that. It's not. It's not. People that always going around want to talk about people's body parts. That stuff those are clear signs that these people have sadistic, pedophiliac type minds. And you have to catch them in the act. And you have to start putting them on blast. We got to stop sitting back and just normalizing it like, oh, he probably just weird. No. Stop acting like it's okay to be weird. It's not okay. And y'all gonna watch the rest. I didn't finish watching it, but I'm gonna show y'all because I'm about to get off of here, because Lord have mercy, I'm going on 30 minutes running my mouth about how I feel about this video. But I'm gonna show y'all real quick.
saying something. He had told me because he ended up leaving, but he had told me that he was about to go hit a play right quick. That's what he had told me. So it's just me and his cousin at this point. And his cousin ended up coming into the room with me. I don't even know how that happened, but I'm just waiting on him. I'm like, dang, like I'm supposed to be in tutoring right now, and you supposed to be in here with me. Like, where's you at? So I'm just like, I was irritated just sitting there, and I didn't even know how I was about to get back home. So I'm just like where's he at? So the cousin had came in the room, and he started talking to me and stuff like that, and I'm just entertaining it because I'm like, okay, this is something to do for the time being, right? He in there, he just talking to me, and he like started inch by inch just getting closer to me. The next thing you know, his hand on my leg, he just talking to me, spitting that BS, like. And at that time, I was actually flattered by that because
It's
I really
nasty.
don't know.
That's
Yeah, I don't.
nasty. That's nasty. And like I said, I could relate to her. I remember being a young female. Well, I'm still young, but I'm talking about being in my teenage years and older guys constantly trying to talk to me, trying to groom me, trying to encourage me that, like, oh, you look older, or you seem older, they fill your head up with this fictitious talk, so that way you get psyched out. Because like I said, when you're a kid, you just hearing that, you don't even know, you could be an intelligent child, you don't really know how to process that. You know what I mean? You don't know how to process that. Then you start to think, oh, I'm growing up, this is how it's supposed to go, I guess. Yeah. So a lot of people she was just highlighting in the video, like, people keep trying to shame her and make her feel bad for that mistake that she made. She's willing to admit that she made a poor decision for herself. Give her credit where it's due, because at least she not in denial, like, no, it was all him, it was all him. No, she was willing to admit, like, well, no, I was wrong too. I was wrong too. I shouldn't have gotten that car, and I shouldn't have went over there. And after things went overboard with this guy, when it got intimate, I should have gotten out of there. That's what she's saying, and she didn't get out of there because she was basically saying she got the support from this guy that made her feel like she was, escaping her situation at home, which she claimed that her mom wasn't really, talking to her about, the birds and the bees, and helping her understand, how to go about it. And that as a young child, she has suffered being touched on by people, being molested on. So she didn't really consider it bad because it was normal in her world. So when the man who's much older than her is now feeling on her and pulling her underclothes down and spooning her, she's just thinking, like, I guess this is the next phase for me. And that's sad, yo. Meanwhile, he's raping this girl. You understand where I'm coming from? That's disgusting. Just, oh gosh. And like I said, a lot of young females go through it, and it's not even about them having to look a certain way. Don't auto assume that, oh, they gotta be big busted or big bottoms. No, no. They just have to be around somebody or lured into somebody's space where those type of people are. You know what I mean? I had a cousin that's not my blood cousin. He's my cousin because his parent married my relative. But he used to always touch on me, and I hated him even to this day. Even when I see him, in my heart, I be like, I hate you because you used to touch on me. But I don't do nothing about it because it's like I was a kid. But I hated him coming over. Every time he came over, I would run, and they'd be like, "Why are you running?" And I would just be like, "No, I hate when he comes over. I hate when he comes over." But guess what he had to do? He spent a lot of days of his life in jail and in prison because God don't like ugly, and God will deal with you. So that's why this young girl, maybe she doesn't have it in her heart to be brave to say, like, yo, you know what I mean? I have to say this or I have to say that. Maybe she doesn't want to say it, but guess what? It's going to catch up to him. Because God don't play. God do not play about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And yeah, you do. You gotta go through life, and you gotta understand, like, you might have a relative touch on you, you might have an absolute stranger touch on you, you might never have nobody touch on you. But whether you choose to talk about it, or whether you choose to harbor it, or whether you choose to kind of sort of deal with it or adapt to it, it's not okay for somebody to do those things to you. And if they try to manipulate it to where you're the bad guy, mm-mm. And that's why I'm looking at this young girl and I'm like, that's a shame, because she was so tricked by this guy that she's admitting that she was staying at his house within the 8 days and still leaving out to go sleep with other adult men. She was He had told her she was an adult. So she was thinking, oh, so I just can go out and go have sex with whoever I want to, whenever I want to. And that's sad. That's trifling. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people think that grooming is done only to the younger generation. No, you could be any age and somebody get in your world and try to groom you. Someone will try to um, basically reset your mind to what they want you to think and believe of yourself. And it's usually nothing good, and usually it's to send you down a bad path. So you have to stay away from these types of people, and it's not easy to do, because a lot of the time they will come around you as if they're good, genuine people with good intention. So you never know. You never know. But y'all go ahead and watch that show. It's thousands of views. I'm not telling y'all because it has thousands of views. I'm telling y'all because um this is one of those things where you sit down with your kids, you sit down with your god kids, you sit down with your nieces, your nephews, you know, your sons and your daughters, the kids in your neighborhood, and you say, listen, y'all, if anybody is going through this, you don't have to expose it right now because maybe you're scared or whatever. But y'all need to know this is not okay. It is not okay for any person of any age to do this to you at any point in your life, whether you're very young or whether you get very old. At no point is it okay for somebody to victimize you sexually, mentally, physically, emotionally, or in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You know what I mean? So I'm about to get off of here because I got to finish watching it. It's almost at the end. And I, if this young girl ever watches my video, I want you to know that you have my love, because it takes a different kind of strength to open up about something so derogatory, so humiliating. That's humiliating what happened to you. Somebody taking advantage of you at a time where you were just still trying to discover yourself, and you still trying to become who you really supposed to be in life. So you have my undivided love. I don't want you to keep going around and trying to say, oh, it's because I didn't get the proper this and the proper that, because you know what, one thing we all have is a thing called natural instinct. And I'm gonna be honest with you, most children are taught by the time they're in pre-K, kindergarten, definitely before first grade, all kids are taught good touch, bad touch. Everyone is taught that, at least in the United States. That is a prominent thing. Good touch, bad touch. So, am I saying you shoulda? No, I'm just saying that you need to accept the fact that you probably just felt more so like, yeah, versus I didn't know because I had been gotten touched on since I was a little kid, so I figured it was okay. Nah, you knew it wasn't okay, because as a kid, kids who be touched on, little kids, they be knowing that's not okay. And I know because I've been down that road. I've been touched on as a little kid, and I knew it wasn't okay. And so you can't make me believe that that was your mentality. If anything, you probably felt like oh well, like it's not like it hasn't happened before. You know what I mean? But I commend you highly because you are doing a beautiful thing to share your story. You're doing an immaculate thing to let people know that you are recovering well and that you're taking the right steps to not walk down that path. And so, and again, I commend the person who hosted the station because, oh my gosh, it was honestly a good topic to cover. So, y'all be safe out there. And like I said, it's a lot of weirdos out there. You know, I met some very strange people in my life. Even a person who happily shared that they had sex with a man, their aunt, their sister, their cousins, and their siblings. And I was just like, wow. So there are a lot of weird people out there. So don't think to yourself like, oh no, that stuff ain't out there. Yes it is. Yes it is. It's out there. It's out there. And you have a lot of people who have gone through it in their life, and as they grow older, they become more sadistic in their ways if they find some type of joy or pleasure in it, and they don't have a problem trying to mess your life up with their weird and odd behavior. All right. So I'm about to put the show back on. Y'all can watch it a little bit. I'm not going to run it too much because it's not my show. But again, you're more than welcome to check it out.
I don't know. I thought like stuff was cool, but in my ear just spitting that BS and like trying to. He was grooming too. I'm not gonna lie. Like just speaking real smooth to me, like how somebody shouldn't even be talking to a kid. And he, bro. So this was I don't even know. I think he was older than Boxer, and he just in that room talking to me spitting BS. I'm not doing part 7, but Boxer he ended up coming back or whatever, and he was sitting in the room with us. He came in the room with us, mind you. I'm in the midst of talking to this dude, so he kind of like had a smile on his face. He like,